and welcome. I'm Kristen Bomas, and joining me tonight is Kelly S. Jones. She is a transformational life coach, an Akashic record reader, as well as a feng shui consultant. Kelly, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and welcome.
Thank you, Kristen. It's always great to be with you, and glad to be back again.
Yes, indeed. It's been a while.
Yes.
So tell me, if you had a question tonight, what would it be?
Of you, me, the universe?
The
Who are you
universe,
asking?
the whatever.
Okay, let's see. I would love to ask the universe, how can we dance more gracefully through life?
Yeah, wouldn't we all? That's a question that we can really sit with, and I think each person out there can actually use it for their meditations and their mantras to really sit in that, because I think there's a very personal feeling of dancing in grace, right? There's a rhythm, there's a fluidity, there's a hum that occurs when we dance with grace. And in order to really start to really look at that in life, I think we start to realize that in order to dance with grace, we're looking for that peace, that joy from within ourselves. And in order to get to that place, what better place to start than to love ourselves? And so we start from that place of wanting to dance with ourselves and really enjoying the steps and the movement and the hum and the music in the background, figuratively and literally, as we move through this life and dance in a state of grace that is on the in between. And so if we can really embrace our love for ourselves and enjoy that dance with who we are and what we are, then I think we begin that process. What do you think?
I completely agree. I think that was a lovely insight, right? Insight into, to me, words are so important, right? And it's breaking each one down and then putting them together in a certain way that holds a texture and a meaning and really strikes the heart, right? It comes to us in a place where we're, slowing down. One of the messages I keep getting and have been getting for
Years.
yes, I mean, it's going on 15 years, is slowing down to move at the speed of love, right? So it's clearly a message I'm learning and continue to learn. And it's what I also share and teach. And that's what you just responded with, right? It's this idea of, first of all, we are in a dance with life, whether we want, whether we're enjoying it sometimes or we're not enjoying it, right? And then the idea of to do it in grace, yeah, it's to do it with that flavor, that quality, that texture of love and peace and calm and feeling right with the world, feeling right in our own being. There's
What
another
is
word I'm coming up with that's
I would hesitate to use the word right only because so many people, and I hope
oh
while
well, yeah, I understand.
right or wrong, right? That's not quite what Kelly and I are trying to address there. There is no wrong. So right is just that rhythm within yourself that is a connection. It's that awareness of self that is moving and fluid with the motion that you take. So grace then becomes that awareness of I'm there, right? It's that dance where you can feel inside yourself that you are connected to the movement, that you are connected to your life, that you are absolutely absolute. And so, right in Kelly's tone, I think is trying to capture that, but I don't want it to be misconnoted. Does that make sense? Am I capturing?
100%. And I'll qualify what I meant by that, right? It's about being in right relationship. And that means we're following our heart.
Okay.
We're in sync with who we are. And part of even the dance with grace and the dance with life has to do with divine timing. So when we're not forcing or pushing, we are able to be in right relationship. And it wasn't a dualized way in which I used the term. So I'm glad you caught it though, because it's important for people to actually know that we're not shaming in the right and wrong and good and bad and all of that. That's never going to allow us to dance with grace with life.
No,
It would actually take us completely in the opposite direction, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad you said that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I want to go back to something we kind of just did this, and by virtue of what we're talking about. But earlier you said that we use words, and the way we use our words are so important. And sound is energy, and words are energy
Yep.
with a particular meaning. And so they're a label. And we just saw it happen with the word right, that we don't have to anything, but when we speak, our words carry particular meanings for everyone, those of us using them and those of us receiving them. That energy is so critically important, along with the label. So we look at the energy of life, and I think that as we speak and as we make sound, and that sound becomes words, that the more we are in tune with that inner space of self, that or your life inside, that experience you're having inside, the words that flow from that core are going to carry with it the energy of you. And I think that as we look at this dance with grace, um, we listen to ourselves as well. That our voice and our sound is part of the figurative music I mentioned earlier. It's part of that place in life where are our words actually a match to the rhythm of our soul, or is there some sort of incongruence or friction there? And so we listen to ourselves, and we listen to the energy and the sound and the music of our voice and our words. So yeah, I'm real happy that you brought all those up. I think they're also critically important to that dance and grace that we're talking about.
I feel like it also brings in and invites in the conversation of trusting the universe is
Sure.
carrying us, right? I mean, that's what grace
Surrendering.
is. We're not having to effort or earn or, you know, do, and that we're we're being supported. And that's what allows us to even trust in divine timing,
Right.
trust that inner voice,
Right.
you know?
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's that surrender too, in that trust in life and in the universe, that
Yep.
when we lean back and know that everything that's flowing is in that perfect sequence and that perfect timing, and so it's all got purpose and direction to it. And as we just kind of allow ourselves to listen, don't correct, don't stop, don't try to get rid of words, listen. They're going to teach you about that flow inside. They'll teach you where you're out of harmony with grace and in harmony with grace, where you feel the connection and don't feel the connection. So yes, that trust is so critically important to that ability to lean back against life and let it carry us through
Yeah.
in all
And I
the things.
like how you were, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I like how you were speaking about, right, the quality, the texture, the frequency of words themselves. And it's interesting. I sometimes in my own journaling or in my conversations with clients, it's slowing down to, right, it's like hearing that inner voice. What is that inner voice? And which inner voice are we listening to? And is it the one that's in harmony with life? Is it life affirming? Is it supportive to us? Or is it of a frequency that's calling us into a mm, disharmonious dance,
Mhm.
right? That's causing us to feel disconnected, causing us to not love ourselves, to be unkind to ourselves. And so that's important that we recognize, right? Again, slowing down and listening to what our thoughts are saying, listening to what words we're actually using, and not only the words, but the tone in which we say them, right? How
Right.
we communicate, right? It tells
Ah,
us more about the emotion and the feeling that's coming from behind us. That doesn't mean we don't emote and we don't honor our emotions, but we want to do it obviously appropriately and not where, we exaggerate. We have to watch that idea of exaggeration too.
well, do we have to watch any of it, or do we want to hear it? We hear that we're
Well,
exaggerating.
I mean, the same way. I don't mean to watch it as in criticize or
Right.
judge
Well,
it, but
okay.
as
So
in to be present with it, to go, "Oh, wow, yeah,
right,
yeah,
right. So we watch, and so we become the observer, the outside observer of self in that case, right? So that we're literally watching, and to become aware of those kinds of patterns that you're bringing up there. It's so important that we don't judge. That as we catch them, as we see them, if we are exaggerating out our emotions, ask yourself with compassionate curiosity, why, where is that coming from? How does it serve you to do that? What's the wish behind it, right? Because if in fact if you're doing that, if you're finding yourself exaggerating out your emotions or exaggerating out some of what you're doing, then there's a reason why you're doing that. Are you conscious of what that reason is? And if you are, can you then learn to communicate that? Can you then learn to say,
yeah,
I am feeling so lonely or so alone or so unheard or misunderstood or whatever it may be. I'm just throwing out a bunch of possibilities that I'm making it bigger than maybe it was, so that maybe then it'll be important enough for you to listen. And so whatever it may be inside you, what is it? And be compassionate when you ask yourself why, and really let yourself notice these patterns with a wonderful embrace of why. And that pulls us right back into the flow of grace, right? That compassionate curiosity about life and ourselves. It's a constant pull back into that dance with grace, so that you're moving in a harmony and a rhythm with wherever you're at in this life. We can all get on that dance floor and begin the dance with grace, right? And in that learning curve, I remember when I first learned the two-step dance, it was like, oh, this is so easy. Then I had to incorporate the spins and the turns. I was like, oh yeah, I looked like, yeah, like a monkey. I was clumsy. I was like going left instead of right. But then when I got it, the fluidity of the dance seemed to be a communication in and of itself. And that's very metaphorical for life. It really is. So step onto that dance floor and learn what it's going to be. Anyway, I kind of wanted to play on the words that you just used again, because I love what you just said. That was great.
And when I've worked in just to add to the whole dance analogy or idea, when I've worked in the Akashic records, one of the things that came forward many years ago was that we are in a dance of mirrors. And I
Mhm.
love that, right?
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
many times we don't realize it, and it feels like we don't like what's mirrored back to us. We miss a lot of things because we're looking outside of ourselves or thinking that somebody else is to blame for what's going on. And it's a big shift in consciousness for people to move from this victim or this is happening to me to a place of being empowered and taking responsibility for our lives 100%. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. We disconnect from that power when we identify with being the victim. And so to
Yeah.
reestablish that connection with your power is so critically important. And so when she says responsibility, it's pulling that choice back to the foreground, right? How do I want to see myself? How do I want to feel at this point? No matter what has happened to me, there's purpose. And that purpose says you're either going to master the challenge and come out the other side, or not, or one of those myriad pieces on the in between. And so that choice is the responsibility that you get to take. Like, how do you want to go forward here? So if something has happened to you, there's purpose. How are you going to see it and work with it? And again, the more we step into that rhythm, as you're bringing up, Kelly, that beautiful rhythm of life throwing us, like the in our last episode, we spoke about how do we see the silver lining inside, a really challenging situation before we know the outcome. And you're tapping on that again, right? You're saying that there are things that do happen in our lives, and it's like, you're kidding, right? Again, I have to go through this. Like, what is it? Usually my next question is, okay, what part of this do I need to master this time around? Because obviously there's still a lingering piece here. And I do usually laugh at myself when something represents, because I know that there's one more piece offering itself to me to heal
Right.
one step further, or
Right.
deeper,
And
right?
that's the mastery that you do. That's the mastery that I do, right?
Yes, it is.
It's part of the evolution of humanity. We're all coming to this amazing realization that we have the power to change our beliefs, to change the emotions, to change the experience. But everything's always, like you're saying, right? Always working out for me. The
Right.
universe does have my highest good and
Well, it
intention,
wouldn't destroy
right?
you at all, right?
Say it again.
If it was going to destroy you, it already would have. You wouldn't be sitting with Kelly and I right now, joining us in this
Exactly.
conversation. So, yeah,
Exactly. We wouldn't have even come here. We wouldn't exist, right? And that's, I mean, we exist because the divine loves us, period. So our self-worth is known just right there. Nothing else needs to really be said. And now it's about believing it, remembering it, knowing it, trusting it. That human aspect of the journey.
right? The part that makes it a little bit more challenging than it sounds, right?
Right. Exactly. That veil. How,
Right.
how do we peer through the veil? Yeah. It's interesting talking about peering through the veil. I was doing some self-exploration a week ago in my journal, and I was guided to look at strategy, right? Strategizing as a spiritual practice. And
Oh,
it was
yeah.
and it was really, yeah, it was really neat to like talk to my future self as an exercise, right? And I encourage others to do the same thing and say, wow, what does my future self, how does how does that aspect of me that's on a different timeline or a higher, more evolved timeline that I'm aspiring to, what is how does it strategize? And it was quite interesting how, the responses with the thought, right? Strategy with thought, strategy with action, strategy with communication, that it and to hold that higher vision, right? To ride that wave, that ribbon of life and love, and be in that dance with the universe in a way that's going, I'm conscious about what I'm creating and what I'm intending,
Yeah.
and to be met there, to write. So it's kind of like what you were just saying, learning how to dance. Well, you weren't learning to dance the two-step by yourself. You had a partner. So we have
Oh,
this
yeah.
partner called life, right? And then we have these partners called each other, right? These reflections that we're blessed to have to help us see ourselves, to help us have these experiences. So it was fun. It was fun.
It's interesting because I think that um, as you're listening, I think you probably are strategizing more than you think. If you are someone who is thinking about your manifestations, thinking about mantras, thinking about your meditations, thinking about, you're wanting to start to strategize. And I think, Kelly, I love that offering that you're putting on the table. Like, move yourself out to that place of where you ideally would like to see yourself and feel yourself, and what is the strategy that you see, and putting those two pieces together. People don't put those words together, but I think instinctively there's something they're doing, and once they realize it's a strategy, now all of a sudden they're putting the plan, they're strategizing the plan rather than just doing something. So that's actually a really wonderful way to think about
Yeah. Yeah. So how about you? What question do you have of the universe?
it. I don't know. I'm thinking I'm liking the dance, with grace
Yeah.
question. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's
Yeah.
it's a nice time to be putting that on the table, right? I think that a lot of people who I have met recently are struggling with their own life being feeling like it's in a state of upheaval in one way or another, emotionally,
Mm.
sometimes physically. There's just a tremendous amount going on right now on this earth that's just kind of popping, right? The energy is popping. And so a lot of people are really asking, they're in this defense mode. And
Yeah.
so there couldn't be anything more resistant to dancing with grace than being in a state of defense and resistance. And so you can't dance very well when you're defensive and resistant, right? Anybody knows that. Go out on a dance floor and be worried that everybody's looking at you. You're gonna like misstep all day long. You can't dance if you're worried about that stuff. So get rid of the defenses, get rid of all of that angst, and all of a sudden we're back to where we are. But you have to not feel that opposition in any way. So it's a nice time to bring that question up. I think it's really pretty amazing.
You just opened another like viewfinder, I call them, right? So just again, the idea of dancing, it's really hard to stay in our head. It's really hard to stay in the
Mhm.
worry, right? When we're in our body and we're moving it and being connected to ourself.
Yeah.
And especially in that idea where we're in
Right.
flow, where we're being graceful, even in our own movements.
Hmm.
And when we can move our body in a graceful way, it like leads the thoughts. It leads, right? Creates a leadership in your own life as to where you're intending to go and where you want to go. And it feels good, right? Changing our vibration, shifting our frequency,
Hmm.
getting out of the thoughts that can be, as you said, right? There's so much chaos go,
Right. Right.
going on, and I can't solve it here, and I can't
Right.
solve it now in this moment with these thinking, this thinking, these ideas. So what can I do? What allows me to start shifting and getting into that frequency that allows for flow to happen, that allows for a different perspective, that allows for the central nervous system to even calm down, right? So I have to breathe. Breath is such a huge, important
Mhm.
tool now more than ever. And it's clear
Yes.
out there that people are really starting to understand. Gets me in my body, gets me present in the moment, pulls me out of my thoughts, and then move the body even better.
Yeah. It's interesting because you this I think as we think about this dance with life and grace, think about your most primary relationship to the listener. And is there a hum? Is there a dance that you can embrace in that relationship? And of course, we've talked about the dance with your own self in life, but it's a nice way to, I think it's a nice way to look at each of the relationships in your life and with life in general, so that whether it's your career or your partner or your best friend or a sibling or a parent, like what is that dance like for you? Not them, you. Where is the trust? Kelly's brought up the trust. She's brought up that love, that surrender to what things are about, the acceptance. So where does all of that fit in? You can really play with what Kelly and I are talking about today, and start to apply this in your life, with by looking at not only the relationship with yourself and not only the relationship with life, but the relationship you have with those around you. It really is a nice way to start to ask if you're moving towards that idyllic experience, or are you settling? Are you growing, or are you managing? It really does open up a lot of wonderful doors, Kelly. That was neat. We
Yeah.
could take that to another whole nother podcast, actually.
Pulls a lot of pieces together, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Mhm.
So if you're okay with it, I can kind of wrap up. Do you have any final thoughts you want to throw out there before we kind of pull things together?
No, I feel good. I
Yeah, I
feel
do.
good.
I do
Thank
too.
you.
So yeah, I love the conversation. I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope as
Absolutely.
everybody, as we look at this, I hope that you're pulling together this feeling inside yourself, because I think our goal, Kelly and I's goal in this, is to give you an experience of dancing with grace in your own world, in your own way, in your own life. What does it mean to you? How does it feel to you? And to really pull that forward and to understand um, where you wish it to be, and then go for it. And maybe we go to strategizing that experience and really pulling it together. But what's most important is that first and foremost, I hope that you all can really feel the opportunity that is before you in learning to dance with grace. Thank you very much, Claudia. That was great. And to all of you out there, may your lives be filled with a dance of grace. And until next time, may the magic be yours. Thank you again, Kelly. Bye-bye.
Wait. I have a question before she goes.
Okay.
So when you guys were talking, I wrote down slowing down to move at the speed of love. That one, like, I was like, dang, I like that.
We could do a whole one on that. She's got a bumper sticker on her car that says that. I want
I've gotten honks for it too. What?
Where'd you get it? I want it.
She made it.
I made it.
Yeah.
On what?
You can make bumper stickers.
Yeah.
It was her idea. That's her copyright.
Well, let me buy it from you.
What's your question about it? She's here.
I don't know. I the way that was like said and put, I was like, yeah, I want that feeling.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, how do I get there, or how do I start with that? Or
before you answer, as soon as you went to the question, you shifted away from the feeling, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. The question takes you away from the experience. When she said it all on her own, you experienced it. Now when you ask the questions, it pulls you away.
So just sit and experience it. Don't question it.
Don't question it with how. Try questioning it different. Question. Kelly's not going to give you something. She's going to elicit something from you. Right, Kelly?
What does it mean to slow down?
What I hear Kristen sharing is when you go into the question, it can pull you out of the feeling. Mm-hmm. So if you stay connected, what's your name again? I'm sorry.
Grace.
Grace.
Oh my God, I just got that. Don't you love how spirit works? I mean, that's so, oh my God, I literally just got that. Like sometimes Kelly is really slow, okay? So if you're staying in the feeling of the question, so it's more from, I don't know how you would ask it differently, right? It's like, I would say, for example, what do I need? No, it's even, to me, it's a how question, Kristen. So that's interesting that you're saying it's not. So I'd be curious.
Away from it. You don't want to be pulled away from it. Stay in it, feel it.
Right.
And describe where you're at. And as you describe where you're at, you start to live it. It's
so here you go. Yeah. In what ways can I deepen the feeling that I have, having experienced that question or that statement rather?
Well, maybe more of living in this state more often than I am. I mean, I feel like right now, which a big factor is that I don't love my job, and maybe we should not put that one out there. Not this job. No, my other job. But
but if you're
move at the speed of love, feels like that statement feels like I'm laying on the beach. I have nothing to do. I'm with my friends. I'm with the people I care about. I'm swimming in the ocean. Like, there's not a care in the world. It could be Sunday afternoon and I work tomorrow and I'm not worried about it. Like, that's what I feel when I'm going through that. And like Brown Eyed Girl or Dancing in the Moonlight is playing, or
how is she playing our music, Kristen? That's our music. That's great music. I love that music.
All of that is going on when I think of this statement, but it comes to an end at Sunday at
don't let it forget the job. Carry that feeling through into a career. What does it feel like?
Two things I'm gonna, if I can add.
Go ahead.
One, the guidance is you go to the place within you where nothing can disturb you,
Mm-hmm.
and you allow nothing to disturb you. That is moving at the speed of love. So that means, as Kristen's about to guide, that feeling you have doesn't magically end because a new day has begun and it's got these things in it. Your mind has got you set up that this is this way and this is this way. And I can't have this here. I can only have it here. But here's the problem with that thinking. The beach and all that great music. Well, it's kind of like we've all heard the story, right? I can have ice cream and ice cream, like, oh my God, ice cream's amazing. And I have ice cream and I have ice cream and ice cream. At some point, that ice cream is no longer going to taste good. Your beach will wear out. The reason the beach feels so good is actually because it's not all the time. There's a sense of a reward, let's say, or this camaraderie or what have you. How do you have that same feeling, that same response in you with everything that you're choosing to go to that job? How do I have this experience here? It's up to me. It's not my job is causing me to feel this way. I'm allowing and choosing to feel this way with my job. Feel the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Def-
So I'm choosing to get out of that speed of love energy. Now, it could be informing you it's time for a change, and that's okay. Then there's
I
something
know that one.
right, but then that's telling you, right? It doesn't mean I have to get out of my place of peace within. I can trust, right? The dance of the universe, the dance of grace with the universe. I trust that the universe is informing me this journey's coming to an end. Okay. And that means there's another one coming. What then do I need to do? What's available to me to do that I can start making that shift and that change?
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You're welcome. Helpful?
Definitely. Because when I wrote that down, I was like, at the end of this, I'm asking. And you can throw it in the podcast if he wants as like an extra. But.
Well, and isn't it fun though? Even the question caused me to recognize what I didn't recognize. So you see how there's always a benefit. It's never a one-way street. Always.
Never. Never, never.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how much we miss when we think it is.
Right?
Always speaking to us.
Yeah. Life is always, always working to our benefit. So great question, Grace. And I'm just so thrilled that the angels gave me that. How do I dance in with grace in the universe? I don't even remember the question. Like that just like popped in.
Yeah, it's just how you dance with grace. Yeah.
How can we dance more gracefully through life?
It was
There we go.
Grace.
How can we dance more gracefully through life?
It was the dance with grace, though. You can't. That
Dance with grace.
question because that has the.
Yeah. How do we dance with grace through life? Oh, more grace or grace.
With grace, yeah.
All right. Do you want to see my painting just while we're here?
Sure.
There's my painting. Have you seen that, Kristen?
Oh, it's 6:30. No. Which
really?
one?
Oh, this is my.
Thank you. Let me see. Go closer. I got to get my glasses on too.
This is my painting.
Oh, I have seen this. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Graceway. And this is
Grace.
the pillars of light.
Grace paints as well. She painted that.
Oh wow, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. They're the pillars of love and truth that grace always is coming through. Isn't that nice?
That is beautiful. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very cool. Very beautiful. That was super.
That was super fun. All right, my dear. You gotta. Is that a wrap? You got a good episode? You happy?
I'm very, very happy.
Good.
I love you, my dear.
I love you too.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Will do. You too. We'll talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, sweetie.
Thank you so much for joining me, and please visit KristenBomas.com where you can easily access all of my social circles.